Our bodies are incredibly complex, and much of this complexity comes from tiny structures called proteins. Today I'm going to talk about a specific group of proteins known as synaptic receptors. How synapses work. Think of your brain as a massive communication network. Nerve cells or neurons send electric signals to each other to process information and control your body. But these signals can't just jump directly from one neuron to the next. There is a small gap between them called the synapse. When a signal reaches the end of a neuron, it triggers the release of chemicals called neurotransmitters into this gap. Synaptic receptors on the neighboring neuron detect these neurotransmitters, and if everything works correctly, the receptor opens like a gate. This allows the signal to continue its journey as current generated by ion flow through synaptic receptor. This is how your brain processes thoughts, memories, emotions, pretty much everything. But what happens if these synaptic receptors don't function properly? If they don't open or close at the right times, the communication between neurons gets disrupted. This is linked to a variety of neurological conditions like epilepsy, schizophrenia, or Alzheimer's disease. So, how can we correct these malfunctions? One approach is to develop drugs that can target these synaptic receptors and either open or close them as needed. However, finding the right drug is a huge challenge. There are millions of possible drug candidates, and testing them all experimentally would take an enormous amount of time. Here's where modern technology comes in. Thanks to advances in computing, we can simulate how these synaptic receptors interact with different drug candidates. By calculating the binding free energy, essentially a measure of how strongly a drug binds to a receptor, we can predict which drugs are most likely to be effective before we even test them in the lab. This not only speeds up the discovery process but also helps us design more effective and targeted therapies. By combining our understanding of how synaptic receptors work with the power of computational models, we are paving the way for new treatments that could help millions of people suffering from neurological disorders. This research is not just about understanding the brain at a deeper level, it's about using that knowledge to improve lives. Thank you for your attention.